Meanwhile, today's World Cup results, by the way, today's World Cup results, I'm very proud and happy to say that I am so impressed on the open men's side with the number of Russians that remain in the field. In fact, I think only three or four countries actually, in fact, only three countries comprise the final eight.
Did everyone hear that?
Is that
John
true?
is pro-Russian.
Only three countries comprise the final eight.
Yeah, pro-Russian, John. Congratulations.
We have four players from India out of the eight, one Norwegian.
Arantari.
Will guess who that is, and one fellow
And
from
two Americans.
Azerbaijan.
Maybe Hammer.
Our favorite,
Hammer.
the fan favorite Norwegian,
Jan Ludvig.
Well, Arantari has better hair than anybody among the top players of Norway. He's got a better, he's got the smile and the hair. The other guys, they're getting up there in years. It's not their fault. But Nijat Abasov from Azerbaijan is facing Vidit in the surprise contender, I should say, Vidit Garati. And Vidit got by Jan Nepomniachtchi today. It was quite impressive, but Jan found a way to not win. I feel absolutely terrible for him. No, seriously, I've gotten accustomed to seeing him in the World Championship, and he's got to qualify.
No, but he's already qualified because he lost the match.
By rating, because he lost the match, right? So he doesn't have to.
I mean, he managed to snatch defeat out of the jaws of victory.
He seems to have a little bit of nervousness about him, though, that seems to appear in the time scrambles, like a little bit of self-doubt that's only keeping him behind Gukesh, India's number one player, as David has pointed out, who's rated a higher than Anand at the moment. Is that true? Is playing Magnus Carlsen in tomorrow's matchups. And Arjun Argaisi versus Ramesh Pragnananda in an all-Indian matchup, and Fabiano Caruana versus Lanier Dominguez in the all-American matchup. Now, of course, I'm pulling all the way for Fabiano Caruana. He's been a great kid since he was very small. I've known him the longest of any personally. I feel like if anybody has the skills to take care of the extremely solid formerly Cuban Grandmaster Lanier Dominguez.
Yeah, Lanier eliminated Alexei Sarana.
From Serbia.
Yeah,
I was sad to see him go.
It was like my favorite.
Because I have some Yugoslav roots, being partially sponsored by Chess Informant. And I would like to see my former Yugoslav countrymen all doing well. That would include all five countries. You got Serbia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Macedonia, Croatia, and I'm leaving one out.
Yeah, he started a new war.
Or have I read all five? By the Forgotten Republic. Yeah. But needless to say, that was the last of the former Yugoslav contingent, Alexei Sarana, and he did win the individual European Chess Championship this year. So he was quite on form, and we will expect to hear more.
I mean, I think he messed up his preparation. He was like following like the engine moves, and he just like forgot something. Yeah.
Is that what happened? Because he went out in straight classical games.
I mean, he drew the first one and lost.
Not unlike Hikaru. I believe Hikaru flubbed the move order against Prague in the very first game, right? And then had to go all out in the second game, and he chose Korchnoy's 24th game against Karpov suggestion of the Pirt/modern defense. And it ended equally well for him as well. It had to be preparation because Prague had certainly played that line before against the modern defense with knight f3, bishop c4, and h3, and just a very conservative setup, queen e2. And he just polished off poor Hikaru without even missing a beat. I felt terrible for Hikaru. By the way, I did uncover that among Hikaru's heroes, previously we said that Hikaru had only said it was himself, but he also gave Kasparov great credit for being one of his major influences on his
chess career. That's a bit mean, wasn't it?
Oh,
that was just a wee bit mean, but perhaps
funny story that while during the game after Prague won, Magnus,
Yes.
like he got up and congratulated Pragnananda while he was still playing, which he cannot speak to anyone. But
in theory, you're not supposed to speak to any other players while you're playing. He couldn't help himself. Yeah, but run over and congratulate Prague.
What are they gonna do? Ban him?
Yeah. As long as he doesn't give him, one of those athletic slaps on the butt on the way out the door.
Good on you, slugger.
Go. And Prague looking equally embarrassed,
That could also be taken wrong way.
Yeah.
The wrong way.
Yeah, look at Kara,
exactly.
a future world champion. Yeah.
No, many years ago, there was a Friends episode where the employer of one of the main characters, I'm trying to think of who it was. It wasn't
Chandler.
Joey or Ross. Who's left? Chandler had this job, and the boss kept giving everyone the football coach's slap on the tuchus on the way out of the conference room. And Chandler is waiting for the boss to leave so that he doesn't have to receive one. And I'm talking, this is like way back when, and they're sort of addressing the uncomfortable part of the issue of unwanted affection, even amongst employers and their bosses then, which is pretty crazy.
We do have another story, I believe.
So here...
Oh, and also...
We do have one more story. The World Cup story. I am kind of curious on the women's side. Is the Ukrainian player, Anna Musichuk, going to face, if she does have the chance, as David pointed out, is she going to play Goroshikina from Russia in the next round, in the final?
Russian versus Ukrainian. I wonder where we've seen that one before.
She refused to play the Grand Prix earlier this year, so...
I think that she's going to abstain in the final. If Goroshikina reaches the final, I believe that she has every right to choose not to play, and then she can play, that she will finish in second place.
I believe she has every right too, but it might be more important to try and face and beat the Russian than it would be to let her win by default. That would be, It
opens up a whole different set of a can of worms, though, for the most part. I think the worst case scenario, should she lose to the Bulgarian, Anna Musichuk, should she lose to Salamova, and Tang Zhongxi, the former U.S. women's world champion prior to Zhu and Jun, if she were to beat Alexandra Goroshikina and put them both in the fourth bracket, would she refuse to play her, thereby forfeiting her rights for the candidates tournament? That would make it even more awkward, because they have to play a match for third place to determine who's going to make it into the candidates, which will be very awkward. Now, the greatest thing is that I'm hoping that Tan Zhongxi does win, even though it's unlikely. She's not necessarily the crowd or rating favorite against Alexandra Goroshikina. But if Tan Zhongxi does win and Anna Musichuk, as the favorite in her match, does manage to win, the two of them are enabling a rematch of their previous Women's World Championship bout in 2017, I believe, where Anna Musichuk failed to become Women's World Champion then, and Tan Zhongxi became Women's World Champion way back then, a year before Zhu and Jun.
Who do you guys think is going to win? Mm-hmm.
Overall, Alexandra Goroshikina is going to win the whole thing. Sentimental favorite, Anna Musichuk.
Oh, I have no horse in this race. Logan? I'm just. I don't honestly follow women's chess, and I'm embarrassed to say that. Well, not that embarrassed. I said it, but but I don't know. We'll go for the Ukrainian because that's the party line.
Yeah, that's my pick too.
Indeed. A sky of blue over the field of the wheat, the golden wheat.
I forgot to ask you on the men's, on the open section. Yeah.
Who do we think is going to win?
Well,
that is a good question.
Forgive me for sounding ignorant.
I don't want to influence anybody
Forgive me for sounding ignorant, but who are the choices?
Drogon? Well, we have Magnus versus Gukesh, Avasov versus Vidit, Caruana versus Dominguez, and Aragaisi versus
goodness. We'll go for the American. We'll go for Fabi.
Since Fiddler's gone, that seems wise.
It's sad to see Fiddler go. In my heart, he won it.
David?
But
I mean,
in reality, not so much.
I'm not sure. I think either Gukesh
David, what do you think? All right, we can say which two do we think we'll see in the final?
Don't know. Probably Magnus against someone else, but I don't.
You think it's going to be Pragananda versus
not sure.
Magnus?
I would like to see Abasov in the final because it's like having the tournament of his life, basically.
I'm going to take some educated money here. Go Magnus and Fabi. I mean, Magnus is just my power pick, just in case everything else goes to shit.
That's a safe bet.
Yeah, and Fabi's there because he's clearly very, very good, and of course I'm trying to win this. I ain't going for the maybe prospect.
Well, Abasov is the hometown favorite. This tournament is taking
as we know, home field advantage. The crowd cheering can really, really get a side going.
During the game, right? As well as spectators yelling at the refs.
Get your glasses, refs. And then there's some British football chants in the background.
All right. Well, I'm going to go out on a limb. As much as I can see Magnus Carlsen taking care of business, I believe Gukesh is going to come out of the top bracket in the final. And I'm going to see Susan Polgar's prophecy of him being an all-star player realized.
I mean, he's already top 7 in the world.
Against he's the 8th seed here.
Like on the live rankings.
And if I have to pick another player, I'm going to go with Aragaisi on the bottom. Let's see if Pragnananda can get past Aragaisi. So at the moment, I'm going to say in the final, for first and second, it will be Gukesh versus Aragaisi. As much as I want to see Fabiano beat Aragaisi, I'm hoping that Fabiano gets past Lindier Dominguez first. I can't lose, basically, if Fabiano makes it all the way to the final, because I'll be proud to say I was wrong.
Yeah.
But if I had to stick my neck out, it's going to be Aragaisi versus Gukesh.
Yes.
The guys with only one G in their name versus the extra G's in Pragnananda.
It's the W's that count, though. So,
yes. Nobody has a W. Not one person has a W.
That's sad. Okay,
Caruana's the closest. Caruana and Vidit have one U in their name. Actually, Gukesh.
Where are we going to cover the Western Cape's Women's Chess Championship? Okay, and despite me mentioning it, this is really Chess Chopin's operation.
Yeah, that was my weekend. Was watching it.
Yeah. So who are you rooting for here? Let me guess.
Jessie.
It's a month of the year.
Exactly. Jessie February.
Jessie February. Right.
We're all big fans of February. Almost. I would like to see Rebecca Selkirk have a better showing than she's currently in 7th place with 3.5 points, tied for 5th, right behind Jessie February, who's in 2nd, who's tied for 3rd, I guess, with 4 points, a half point behind the first two, Robin Klaassen and Jackie Grobelar.
Very fun names, but yes, we have neglected to say that this is a star-studded tournament full of masters. Rated at 18.
Women's international masters,
women candidate masters. For instance, there's some very strong players like women international Annika De Police. I don't mind butchered that at 16-18.
Duplessis. Yeah. Annika Duplessis.
And then
she's 16-18.
There's another woman international master rated 17-16. The real tradition for strong South African title players,
So I'm curious if there's a rating requirement that hasn't or has been met, despite there having been, let's say,
I think some of them are underrated.
I mean, for reference, hang on. Once I get my chess come to obey me, which it's not. Oh, hang on. There is. Hang on. We'll do a quick count. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
for instance,
6, 7, 8. There's like 8. No, there's probably about 10 or 11, or even more than that, maybe 10 or 11 women international masters or women candidate masters, and they're all under the 1800. They're all basically under 1800 or 1850. So I think South Africa has got a small problem with giving titles to players who may not actually be of the caliber to be those titles.
Some of them are actually really young.
I don't think that's a thing. I think what they need to do is that women's titles need to be cleaned up a little bit, and they need to stop giving them out to if you for one good performance. They in order to bring honor to like a title, you probably need to have it a solid rating requirement, like every other title. And this is not me being a rampant sexist, although I mean that is one of my hobbies. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, no. So, what's your opinion, John? Once you've finished your bowl of your mouthful,
My soft shell chicken tacos. Yes, basically. Now, obviously, the purpose behind having women's titles is to encourage participation, to provide some sort of incentive for them to continue to striving for something.
yeah, I mean,
so it's a tough call as to whether or not you have a local or national title. For example, mine, right? I have a national master in the United States, but that does not necessarily mean that I've been a FIDE master of 2300. So it's an equally devalued title if they start handing it out to everybody who doesn't make the rating.
I'm sorry, John. I caught a few strays there.
So
yes.
The Dennis Boa, her peak rating was in like 2007 or something like that, and she was like 1950 FIDE.
That sounds like the minimum rating requirement
and,
for WIM.
The other one,
I mean, it just doesn't match up against internationally. Though is my point. It's not that. I'm sure we could find someone in there who has done very, very well, and I'd be the first to congratulate.
Yes, she was also. I think those are all the players. Some of them, like there's two of them. Yeah, and
over the years, right?
Ansel Lobsher, she was also 1900 something.
But there is a big list of people. I mean, I don't actually think women international master should be 1900. I mean, honestly, if there's strong, the woman FIDE master should probably be around about there. Woman international master should correspond, at least the same as FM to IM in real life, right? There should be a separation of at least 150 points between the two different things.
I think it's 2100. I think.
I said there should. I didn't say there is, but I think
there'll be.
I mean, because there's Tanya Suchdev who is a woman GM, but and
she's
then you've got
master.
Yeah, I mean,
she's an actual men's international master.
But she also holds the other titles as well.
Yes,
if you know. So what I'm saying is that
you have to have a 2400.
What I'm saying is that I did list off quite a few players in there, and quite a few title players of the women international. Of the women international master title, and they're simply not that strong. I mean, they'd beat me probably 7-8 times out of 10 without too much trouble at all. But I'm not a strong player, and I'm not titled. If I was titled,
well, this brings up another issue of ageism in a way, because I resemble this remark a little bit. I'm no longer as strong as I was at my peak. When I became a national master in 1989, I was actually headed in the correct ascending direction. And now that I have, I've been since 1989, 39 for so long.
Now I'm an ageist. I'm just adding to my resume over here.
My rating, unfortunately, cannot stay up.
I mean, I do believe if you have earned the title, it should be yours for life, right? But I'm making the point that you can find some people in that list of people that we've been through that have got to that point. But then we go through and find that it's almost the exception to the rule, almost. Like it is. I don't think if you went through those players, you'd find a bunch of young people who have had good performances in one tournament. They've won the title, and their rating simply does not hold up to what the woman international master title is supposed to be.
Yeah, I don't know what their qualifications are.
I mean, I'm almost advocating for FIDE titles. I mean, I think American national masters are quite strong. I respect that title generally because they're very, very they're decently high level players. And John, at your peak, you're especially that.
I was much better way back when. I know that for a fact. But yeah, obviously, these particular players, these particular rating requirements of 1900,
But
perhaps now that players, have been around, now that the title system has been around for so long, they have to raise both the men's grandmaster rating requirement and the international master rating requirement because of I disagree with their deflation per se, but rather that there's a certain amount of inflation going on as well. Now it's possible that the South Africans are suffering from
yeah, I
the
think so.
deflation that we were just discussing earlier. If all the new players are coming in with 1,000 ratings, they could be. And Lobster could have experienced what I experienced and might have lost a couple of hundred rating points to 1,000.
I don't think that's the case. I think they've just got a horrible. I think I've just got a horrible habit of giving them out for good one-time performances.
FIDE,
and I've been doing it for a while, and it
FIDE.
happens in other countries, and it's all right.
But it's FIDE who sorry, it's FIDE who gives out those titles. It's not South Africa. No,
okay. I will apologize if that's the truth. I'll do more research.
Those are FIDE titles. They're not South African titles. I think most of them are just
gone.
Oh, I think most of them are just like from youth championships. Some of them.
But my point is they shouldn't be giving them away for just good one-time performances, right?
Well,
it should be an objective measurement. There shouldn't be special one-time events that if you do really well here, you can get a title. I mean that shouldn't be a thing. It should be a uniform. It should be a uniform standard, and you should be a uniform standard for everyone. It's. I mean, sorry, go ahead.
If you win the girls under 14 X championship, they often do reward you with a title. One of my favorite grandmasters and old friend that I haven't seen in some time, Grandmaster Larry Christensen, managed to go from completely untitled around 1981, winning the U.S. championship. I think it was a three-way tie with Rushevsky and perhaps Sarawak. And then he goes on to the World Championship cycle and earns the Grandmaster title through his performance there. And he had the rating requirement, though. He was super strong.
I do have a quick sub point, though. I don't think the way to encourage women in chess is to kind of devalue a title and then say, congratulations, ma'am, you've got a title. Because I know, women are completely just as smart as men, and they can know that when something is devalued, they know when they've been given something that's not as good as the men's title. And I think the only way to really encourage women to get better at chess is to go, is to get them competing for the same prizes that aren't diluted at all, that have the same prestige. Otherwise, they're going, well, they're just giving me a charity prize here. That's how I would feel. I'd be like, well, they're just giving it to me because I'm a woman. It's not because I'm as good as the male titled players. It's because I've got a devalued title. I think
and most of the women recognize that. I think they do. I think that they recognize that they would rather have the international master title, as Sonia Sachdev does, rather than say that they're a women's grandmaster.
Your mic is a little bit weird there, John. So I do think that that is the only way to encourage true competition is to just be honest about it. You're gonna have to work hard to do it. You're gonna have to put in the hours, and when you do, you will be recognized. You'll be recognized as the exact same skill level without any devaluing of your success because of the devaluing of the title. I mean, there is an even bigger question. There is an even funner question is about when people ask about voting ages, which is a weird one. People say we should put the voting age down to 16. Well, we live longer, so I think we should put them up to like 25 or something like that, and have it all over with. I'm just kidding, but it is a weird point that I was thinking about in my head. I was like, huh.
It is true that you need a certain level of wisdom that goes with a title. and the rating is the indication of
Yeah,
that
I mean,
chess
it's an
wisdom.
objective mathematical formula that shows that you have got a consistent and prolonged winning rate of a certain percentage. Getting a title in a tournament means that you may have gotten some seriously good pairings and a tiny bit of luck and a little flare up of chess skill at the time. I mean,
But
I don't know. I mean, I
But
know that Chess Chopin here has got some serious disagreement, and I can
David?
tell because he's trying to speak. So I'm going to let him.
but like those titles are given by performance, so it takes into account like the players you face. So that's
Yeah, but but my point being, as I think there should be it should be a bar that is objective and set, and it should be you can maybe you can look at it to find other objective factors for doing it. Sure, but I believe that there should be one way to get the title, and there should be one way of doing it. And if you can't get the title through that way, well, then that just adds to the value of the title, doesn't it?
maybe the
I
norms
mean,
are too easy, like to get. I don't know about. I'm not sure about like how, like what are the requirements to get the titles, but I'm pretty sure you need some norms.
They have
yeah,
rating
for
performance
CM
norms.
and
Yeah.
FM, it is just rating, and for IM and GM, there are norms alongside the rating. So there's Grandmaster norms, there's
Alongside
IM
a minimum
norms,
rating requirement.
there's other things for
I've
IM
also
and
seen
GM.
like FIDE masters and international masters with like lower rating too, because they got it and they got it
They fell away.
on some random tournament.
It does happen that when
Yeah.
people win the
That's
World
kind of-
Youth Championship, they are often given the FM title or the CM title. Now that they've got the CM title,
I think that
they can
may
handle
add
that
to
one
my
pretty
point
well.
a little bit that it should be more stringent, not less stringent. I mean, I don't believe in doctor shopping to get your drugs, and I also don't believe in tournament shopping to get you to get the title.
There are some
I mean-
cases of
I've always had a little bit of an objection to the candidate master title, basically telling people that this is a title saying that they are not a master and that they may become a master someday. I think everybody is a candidate master. It's not like you need a title to say that they should.
You hear
become
that,
a
chess?
master
Come
at
on, I want
any
my
time.
candidate master title. Damn it!
It's like, you have to pay for these titles too. FIDE charges you or your chess federation. Basically, they're
And
farming out these candidate master
what about
titles to
those
increase revenue.
like norm tournaments in Serbia? I think was it Serbia? I'm not sure.
Oh, they have norm factories in Budapest in the past, and some other countries, and even in the United States. Sometimes we were accused of norm factories if you're worried about the quality of the play or the quality of the norms.
I mean, there is being massive allegations, and
one of my last tournaments that I directed, one of the players went to the cash machine in the middle of the round in order to ensure his final norm, and it was rejected as the tournament directors turned him in. Because you can't get up in the middle of your game and ask where the nearest
he just
cash
wanted to
machine
buy
is
lunch
and,
afterwards for his
and come back
opponent.
and that was a big one. But I think that player still attained his norm in another country.
Yeah, the old doctor shopping, love it.
I will name that
but yes,
player
there
later.
is
Or you
there
can even
is
look back at
been
my
allegations like
harboring
for
days,
Sergei
my record.
Karyakin, for instance, of his father buying titles, and unfortunately,
absolutely.
there's also been similar allegations for one of John's favorite people on this earth. So we'll leave that alone because I don't want to be more.
No, that wasn't. No, but that wasn't. I'll address that one directly. That wasn't necessarily for the norms for the title. That was for the rating gains. And it is possible, as has been proven recently by Arakaisi, Pragnananda, and others, to show that you can gain 500 rating points in a year or even months per se if you have the
funny
right
John knew who I was talking about.
But we'll discuss that one at length in
It
another.
was funny how John knew.
I looked into it. I actually did the research on that particular player and the rating gains involved, and to do anything to attain a WGM title. I don't know. Anybody who recently defeated Grandmaster Maurice Ashley straight up in a blitz and or a rapid match, whatever, certainly should not be slapped for the title. But on the other hand, and of course, you can also justify Kariaki.
Like the guy was a world champion challenger. I think he can hold his own. He could probably have done it on his own. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
He ultimately
he's
justified
not on the FIDE
it,
list
or did
anymore,
he?
right?
No, he's not allowed to play. He's completely
I was like,
banned.
I don't see him around.
He's taken a career in personal assistant for Putin.
Right. That's not a good life expectancy on that job, is it?
Oh, he's still here.
I agree with everything he says.
Immunity to writing.
He's still here. He's number 12.
So far, he's doing pretty well with that.
Anyway.
And by the way, they took the Russian Federation to Asia to avoid the sanctions.
Okay, in an attempt to get to my favorite buffet place before they stop serving lunch prices, John, do you have any parting advice for anybody chess related? And now I would stress that I am about to go on to I'm going to try and win the under 20 Atagos championship. So if you've got any advice for, say, a Kiwi chess player named me, and in that area, I would happily accept it.
Well, I want everyone to realize that you can seek help from multiple places, and you should always ask good questions of your coaches, your teachers, or your trainers when any advice conflicts. The advice that I give is often very generic, but at the same time, you must have a trainer who keeps you working very hard every day. You might assist the services of a coach who does not necessarily specifically direct you, but guides you with eyes wide open as to any weaknesses you might have or any character flaws that you may need to correct. For example, if you are not necessarily putting in the right amount of time, or if you have the wrong mindset, this is where coaching comes in. You might even enlist a third person or keep or retain your original teacher, the one who gave you the firm foundation for your understanding, who introduced your language to you, the two bishops, the control of the center, the value of the pawns in the center versus the value of the pawns on the sides of the board, and how those values change in complex situations. Basically, teachers give you all of the fundamentals to form the foundation of your future. And if you're having difficulty becoming a stronger player from, let's just say, 16, 17, 1800, or 2200, there may be something missing in your foundation that maybe your teacher did not emphasize enough. You may be familiar with the concept, but perhaps you don't know it intrinsically. So it always helps to return to your roots with your basic teachings. Mikhail Tal always said that he loved to read beginners' books just to remind himself what was at the core of the positional values that he understood in his youth. And trainers will help keep you working, focused, studying, playing, and on track to gaining your recognition as a player. So remember, though, you might have a good friend who's an adequate coach or a professional coach who can just keep you in mind, saying, you know what, it's time for you to change trainers. That could be the coach's responsibility. Or maybe this guy is a good teacher. Maybe he knows something that you're missing. Maybe the coach would recommend a teacher or a trainer, and you can find one. I honestly would say that had I had a trainer, and I had this discussion with breakfast with Victor Bolakan once during a World Open, is that every player of every level, no matter how high their ratings, have had trainers. Even Magnus Carlsen had a group working for him. So please enlist the help of others if you really want to become better, and be open to their advice, and don't be afraid to ask more than one person for an opinion. Good luck in your endeavors, no matter whom you choose to get your advice from. But remember to always ask good questions, because great students ask good questions of those who are assisting them.
I've got nothing. Is my mic even working? Oh, good.
Everyone have a great night. and a pleasant week. And I'm looking forward to the World Cup.
Cheers, Chopin.
Have a good night.
Good night. Night.
Good night, everyone.